Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Program Focal Point Network is AFR Talk. Talking here about President Obama and just, the absolute bald-faced lie that he told to the nation yesterday. He never said then that if your plan hasn't changed, you can keep it, or if your insurance company doesn't make any changes, or if we don't force your insurance company to make changes in their policy, you can keep it. He said, you like it, you can keep it, period. You like your doctor, you can keep it, period. And so he's now completely rewriting history and apparently hoping that we won't notice. Now, let's grab clip number 5 if we can. Rob, this is Jon Meacham. This guy's an uber leftist, and you listen to this soundbite, and then I'll tell you what I think the takeaway is from this. Jon Meacham, uber leftist, on what Obama's doing.
One of the things that's interesting about the first clip you played from last night is the president had a tone of frustration, a tone of, well, you can keep, but of course there's always churn in these markets, as if we weren't quite bright enough to get that. And I think that that's part of the issue of this presidency, and I think we'll be talking about it for years to come, about his ability to, A, communicate simply and now accurately, but B, to really understand that, we're all not quite as slow, perhaps, as he thinks we are.
So that's Jon Meacham saying, look, the president is insulting everybody in America. This is insulting. The president is telling all of us that he thinks we are stupid. We are dim bulbs. We're not smart enough to figure out what he's doing. This is Jon Meacham. This guy is on his team. He's saying the president has just insulted you, America. You're not quite bright enough to get what he's doing. He thinks he can slip this past you because you're too dumb to get on to what he's doing. We're not quite as slow, perhaps, as he thinks we are. So that is Jon Meacham. And in essence, where isn't I've got a great little piece here by another guy that's in his corner. This is Ron Fournier from National Journal. And he says, look, what President Obama is now doing, so catch this. He goes out and says, if you like your insurance, you can keep it. We know that that's a lie. We know that it's a lie because his own people told him by their calculations, 93 million people are going to lose insurance under Obamacare. He was told that 3 years ago. This is not new information. His own team calculations, 93 million people are going to lose insurance under Obamacare because their plans will be illegal. We're going to throw in all these extra mandated plans. Their plans won't be offering those things, so their plans will be illegal. They'll have to drop them. They'll have to cancel them. His own people told him that, so we know it's a lie. We had the expert from Duke University yesterday saying, look, the actual total is going to be closer to 129 million are going to lose their insurance. So when President Obama was out there saying, you like your insurance, you can keep it, that was a total bald-faced lie. So he lied all 24 times in that montage that we played for you. All 24 times, every single one of those was an absolute, utter, bald-faced lie. Now, President Obama is saying we never said that. So what he is doing is he is lying about his lies. You get that? He told lies 24 times. If you like your insurance, you can keep it. That was a lie. He knew it. Now he is lying about the lie that he told to us before, saying we never said that. Here is Ron Fournier's piece from National Journal. It might not seem possible that President Obama could do more harm to his credibility and the public's faith in government than misleading Americans about health insurance reform, but he can. The president is now misleading the public about his deception. That is, he is lying about his lies. In a speech last night to his political team, Obama said, now, if you have had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law and you really like that plan, what we said is you can keep it if it hasn't changed since the law passed. And then what Fournier goes and does is he quotes some of the sound bites that we played for you where he said you can keep it, period. Here's one. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan, period. No one will take it away no matter what. And Fournier says, look, even the Washington Post gave him 4 Pinocchios for saying that if you like your insurance, you can keep it. They're 4 Pinocchio. I mean, Pinocchio was a liar. Remember, his nose grew every time he told a lie. 4 Pinocchios. That's their liar, liar, pants on fire award. That's the Washington Post talking about the President Obama. And what Fournier points out is if you watch Obama give that speech last night, he was looking at his notes. That whole business about what we said was, if your insurance company hasn't changed your insurance, you can keep it. That's what we said. And he was looking at his notes. So Fournier makes the point is that this was not just an off-the-cuff remark. This was written, it was reviewed, it was edited, it was revised, it was approved by senior White House officials and President Obama himself. So this business, this wasn't just an off-the-cuff thing where he's kind of caught and he makes up a lie on the spot. This was deliberate, it was planned, it was programmed, it was a pre-written lie. This is what Fournier says at the end of his piece. This president is toying with a fragile commodity, his credibility. Once Americans stop believing in Obama, they will stop listening to him. They won't trust government to manage health care, and they will wonder what happened to a reform-minded leader who promised never to lie to them. Well, let's go back to the phones. 888-589-8840 is the number to call if you want to join the program. Let's go to Mabel in Cortland, Ohio. Mabel, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Well, I appreciate all you are trying to get out about the president, because I've been here since 20s, and this all sounds just exactly like Hitler had done. The way he has getting rid of all of our servicemen, and especially the high officers. And according to where I had got some more message off of it, he's got it down to now to the 1915s. So we're in awful danger just by our service people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why that they haven't done something about him getting out of office.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate the call, Mabel, and thank you for that. And, Mabel, she's been observing things in America for a long, long time, never seen anything quite like this, and has a good question. I mean, it's a question that our caller raised. Who's going to stop him? I mean, he's got a totalitarian bent. He's using executive orders to bypass Congress, to bypass the law, to ignore the Constitution, and nobody is stopping him. And I think he's deliberately weakening the military because he wants to get them so emasculated, so politically retooled that they will support him in what he does. They'll support this progressive, socialist, politically correct takeover of the United States culture. He wants a military that will comply with that. He knows that right now the military does not share his values. And if he can purge the military of all the senior officers that believe in classic American values, believe in the Constitution, all that stuff, then there really will be nobody to stop him getting away with what he wants to get away with. So as Mabel said, we are living in very serious times. Let's go to John, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Number to call, by the way, 888-589-8840. John, Jacksonville, North Carolina. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. How you doing this
Good.
evening?
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I want to discuss with you about the fact that it's all lies. We call it the Affordable Care Act, but it's not affordable. It has nothing to do with health care because that's what the doctor provides me, not what the insurance company sells me. And it's not an act, it's a failure.
Well, that's very, very good. In fact, John, to hitchhike on what you're saying, I've got a letter here that was posted by a single mom in Texas, and thank you for your call, John. This has gone viral. She put it on her Facebook page, but it got picked up. Her name is Yolanda Lana Vestos, single mom in Texas. She wrote an open letter to President Obama about Obamacare, and it has to do with what triggered it, John, is when John said, this is nothing about care. It's the Affordable Care Act, but this woman says, look, there's nothing caring about this thing at all. She says, I have a few questions for you, Mr. President. Says, I work at a mediocre job, bringing home a much lower paycheck than you or your wife could even imagine living on. I have a lot of concerns about the new Obamacare along with the taxes that are being forced upon us. Here are my questions. Have you ever struggled to pay your bills? She says, I have. Have you ever had to rob Peter to pay Paul and it still not be enough? I have. Have you ever been so sick that you needed to see a doctor and get medicine but had no health insurance because it was too expensive? I have. And now her complaint is it's even more expensive now than it used to be because of you. Have you ever patched holes in pants, glued shoes, replaced zippers because it was cheaper than buying new? I have. Have you ever had to put an item or two back at the grocery store because you didn't have enough money? I have. Have you ever cried yourself to sleep because you had no clue how you were going to make ends meet? I have. My questions could go on and on. I don't believe you have a clue what Americans are actually going through, and honestly, I don't believe you care. Not everyone lives extravagantly. While your family takes expensive trips that cost more than most of us make in 2 to 4 years, there are so many of us that suffer. Yet, you are doing all you can to add to the suffering. I think you are a very selfish and cold-hearted man who does not care what is best for the people he was elected by, not by me, to represent, but more so out for the glory of your name attached to history. So thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for pushing those of us that are barely staying afloat completely underwater and driving America into the ground. You have made your mark in history as the absolute worst and most hated president of the United States. May God have mercy on your soul. That's a single mom in Texas, Yolanda Vestal. So she's saying what her last caller said. It's called the Affordable Care Act. She's saying, hey, I'd like to see a little bit of care here. I'd like to see a little bit of compassion here. How about caring for us, Mr. President, and what your policies are doing to ordinary Americans? Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2.